So welcome to the Secure Dynamics TechCast. With me, I have a many times over past guest, Helen Patton, who is the current CISO at Ohio State University. Welcome back, Helen.
Thanks for having me again.
So again, you can't have a conversation these days without SolarWinds, but I wanted to kind of expand this beyond that in terms of where does a CISO's responsibility now expand into, right? I mean, SolarWinds is one, Mimecast is obviously much more recent, but the point is it now upon the CISO to actually keep track of the supply chain that could connect to different various parts of the business, right? So it's everything from production to HR to marketing to lines of businesses, right? So and has that ever been in the realm of the CISO to kind of look at the thing, or has it now kind of expanded into this new field?
I think it depends how you've classified what a CISO is. It's certainly been part of the security world to have third-party risk management, third-party oversight, third-party software oversight to be part of the security management function. Now, whether you consider a CISO to be all things information security or just cyber security, I think depends on whether it's been in your space or not. But no, it's look at any cybersecurity mind map, CISO mind map, that kind of thing. You're going to see third-party risk and oversight there. I think the challenge SolarWinds presents is you have to, at some point, you have to trust your vendors, and we certainly trust our technology vendors more perhaps than we trust other kinds of vendors and suppliers. And so, you know, we are trying to move fast. We're trying to automate things, but if you're going to trust the automated code, but that code is bad, what do we do now to try and make sure that we've got some kind of eyes on that? Is that now considered risky enough a thing that it is really something that we need to prioritize? And I don't think we've solved for that question yet as an industry.
So it's a great segue into my follow-on question. I was talking to a CISO earlier today, and he was talking about the number of summons he's getting from his customers. And again, it's coming from legal.
Of course.
To essentially say, okay, tell me whether we are compromised or you're compromised because of which we are impacted. And he's spending pretty much 50% of his day just responding to these queries. So again, it comes back to, I mean, legal is definitely an important aspect of it, but if that's the one that's driving it, so that, hey, we've checked with our suppliers and they told us that there was nothing, so therefore when we got breached, we have no liability. So at what point does legal and CISO then have to work in arms? So it's not just about preventing litigation, this is actually protecting assets, right?
It is. I think there's always been a partnership between legal and security that looks like it's about contracts and liability, but it's ultimately about protecting an organization. I think the legal's doing what legal does, which is they're doing all due diligence to make sure they understand the legal state of the environment. But just because you go to a vendor and you say, please tell me that you're not breached, and the vendor says, of course I'm not breached, you're fine, doesn't mean you have lost any responsibility to trust but verify. And so again, the legal question might be answered, but the security question isn't answered by that activity. It's some level of due diligence is done, but it's not enough to mitigate the entire risk. And that's always the challenge being the CISO, is just because you've observed the form doesn't mean the substance is good. And we continue to work on that.
So last question, again, going back to that statement that you mentioned, which is substance is good, is in order to actually verify that the substance is actually good requires time, requires effort, requires budget, right?
Yes.
And this is budgeting season for lots of companies in through the fiscal year. So that the point of how do you, I mean, again, I'm asking you as a CISO's been through many avatars, is how do you go and get budget without without inducing more? It's a hard question, right? I mean, you can always throw in SolarWinds and Mimecast and say, hey, because of this, I need 20% more. Versus like what you're saying is, in order for us to actually do what we're doing, which is go beyond just the compliance check, going beyond understanding where the suppliers are coming from, where their R&D is, and how often they actually do their due diligence, takes us X amount. So what are the best practices you have seen for CISOs to actually do his or her job well to be able to get this budget for the right reasons?
There's always this conflict between nice theory and practical reality. And the practical reality is that there is no good answer because I don't know the organizations that people work in. And what works for me in my space or doesn't work for me in my space is going to be different for every CISO in every organization. I think in general, when you look at theory and you look at CISOs that have a well-established program, that are well regarded, even though SolarWinds is a really big deal and will continue to be a big deal for some time, there should already be a program in place where you can evaluate what SolarWinds is and what it means to your organization and incorporate it into an existing strategy. It shouldn't, there's nothing about SolarWinds, I'm going to say this and someone's going to look at this and disagree with me. I don't think there's anything yet about SolarWinds that has emerged that says there's something that we've got to do that's dramatically different than what we've already been thinking about doing. The question is, do you do something a little faster? Do you do something with a little more intensity? But I think it's still too early to say this is something that we've absolutely got to do differently and we never thought about it before. So I think SolarWinds needs a little bit more time to percolate before we really know what that is. Now, having said that, though, I do think it's reasonable, particularly if you're in an industry that is a supply chain piece for the federal government. You know, the feds are going to be much more concerned about raising the quality of cybersecurity through their whole supply chain. So if you are lagging or if you're not paying attention to what's going on with the feds, you are going to get left flat-footed.
Yeah, that's actually good advice, right? With all the changes that are upcoming, and just to be able to, whether you're going to meet the bar that was probably non-existent or low before, now it's suddenly moved up, right?
Yeah.
Always great chatting with you, Helen. So good luck, and until next time.
Thanks.
Thank you.